I've spent my career teaching that markets self-correct, but the data behind me shows otherwise.
The moral foundations of markets matter as much as the mechanisms.
The shadow forces are just as powerful as the invisible hand of the market, if not more so.
Regardless of whether the system itself undermines integrity and corrupts authority, AI and automation are restructuring labor in ways our current models can't resolve. Where does the world go from here?
Have you looked at creative currency Octaves?
Briefly. One framework within a broader system, coined Compassionism. Walk me through it. Dual currency? Basic units as base layer? How does that not trigger runaway inflation?
Floor currency is restricted to essentials. Basic units expire, then either revert to source or convert to primary currency as rewards for productive contributions.
The administrative burden.
Food stamp EBT already runs restricted digital currency at national scale.
Compared to the current welfare state, CCO might be easier to operate.
A guaranteed floor sounds compelling until someone has to pay for it.
A decent floor isn't a taxpayer handout, it's a fundamentals layer, built directly into the currency's architecture.
When accounting for what the current fractured floor actually costs, welfare bureaucracy, incarceration, emergency healthcare, homeless services, the downstream savings of CCO become astronomical.
AI simulations project a positive fiscal balance within a decade. After that, any conversion tax would further endow the commons.
If public trust foundation sets price ceilings for essentials, won't that lead to empty shelves and diminished quality of service?
Elevated conversion rates protect quality and supply. This direct subsidy offers incentives and options, not forced commands.
What prevents people from gaming the conversions?
Contribution is community validated. Higher conversion rates and volumes trigger greater scrutiny.
No bureaucrat extracting favors or bribes. The portal creates transparent, auditable consensus.
Conversions require institutional charters, such as trade and credit unions, overseen by municipalities. Automated flagging and open protocols resolve disputes, and the courts handle violations.
Public trust housing. Community land ownership has been tried. It scales poorly.
Community land trusts have operated successfully for 50 years in the US alone. The scale problem is funding and political will, not structure.
The annual HUD budget subsidizes extraction and creates dependency. Redirected, it develops community assets and generative resilience in parallel to the private market instead of prey to it.
Social zone harmonization sounds like central planning with better branding. Who decides which behaviors get harmonized?
The residents do. Social engineering is designed without consent. SZH is explicitly opt-in. The firm exception is adult-only zones where minors don't have access.
The Citizens Internet Portal, public input on monetary policy, is an open invitation for organized interests to launder their agenda as democratic consensus.
Compared to the current system, what's the risk? At least the people gain a voice on a platform, without ads or fees.
What prevents capture?
Open ledgers, public audit trails, identity verification, layered oversight,
and a proposed judicial guard to ensure the integrity of the vote, like the Secret Service, protects the currency.
Does CCO work alongside private enterprise or strangle it?
Providers of essentials opt in to accept basic units. The private market competes on innovation, quality, service, value. Merit.
Businesses benefit from a consumer base with a guaranteed floor, stable demand, reduced debt defaults, lower social costs they externalize onto public services anyway. A healthy floor is good for business.
Labor markets can't reabsorb past 30% automation displacement. At 50%, demand contracts and debilitates the system. At 70%, collapse cascades beyond recovery. This isn't cyclical correction, it's structural divergence.
Compassionism isn't idealism, it's infrastructure. And at those thresholds, it's a fundamental imperative.
The transition, you can't restructure a national economy overnight.
Until crisis forces it. Bretton Woods was drafted in 3 weeks. The New Deal reforms took 100 days. When collapse looms, change accelerates.
CCO's digital infrastructure makes that transition more feasible now than it's ever been.
And without a crisis?
Pilots. Campuses, municipalities, special economic zones. Falsifiable, measurable, scalable, improvable. Then, phased rollouts with continuous improvement.
Considering the evidence in contemporary circumstances, what better focus than this better to best framework? This integrated system needs voices that policymakers can't ignore. Let's enhance the research, draft proposals, and ignite a movement that revolutionizes economics rationally. Now, let's innovate.